Hello and welcome. Massive sniff there. With Sunwarper. What a great
Probably didn't even
introduction to
get
everyone
picked
says.
up. It's not me though.
Hello and
Yeah,
welcome to
like
the.
cracking up because it was on you.
It was me.
Exactly.
There we go. Well, there we go. It's a great introduction. Welcome to the 186th episode of ADSN, and now I'm hearing myself in my own earphones. What a chaotic start to the show. Welcome and
Sneeze whiffs and
sneeze,
distorted
whips,
clips.
everything. It's
Look,
okay.
sneeze whiffs and distorted clips. We're on a roll.
Yeah,
We
well,
are.
nice, by the way.
We didn't have any technical difficulties this week, so this is karma eating us from the other side of pressing the orange button.
Organic difficulties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you ever so much for joining us today. We have survey in the chat. We have survey in the channel, which is fair. And we have smiling arrows in the chat as well. Welcome, guys. Lovely to see you here. We have continuing on our spotlight episode this week, as last week we had mine, but this week we are back with Sunwarper, who's in the house because he released today's Traces, which is going to be it's an exciting album. It is in the description below if you want to get ahead of the game, but that's what we're going to be discussing this week. My name is Curtis. I'm here, and also Eon Lake is here as well. How you doing?
I'm okay, yeah. I am also here. I can
Jeez, we throw it off by saying, Curtis, why don't you do the intro today? And it just goes into chaos. This is just evolving into chaos.
It's all good. We can pull it back.
Most of me's here. Some of me might be elsewhere, but yeah, I think I'm here.
I mean, it's okay if you're not. It's okay if you're not, as long as physically you're present. Mentally, you can be elsewhere. What have you been up to, bro?
What have I been up to? I'm going to be honest. I've been having a big, you know those dips that you get. Yeah, one of those. I've been disappearing up my own backside, thinking, "What's it all about this week?" It's the honest answer. I've been doing some other stuff as well because that gets boring after a while. So after thinking, "What's it all about?" and I don't know if I like this music thing anymore, I did some music. And I didn't really like it.
That's okay.
Some more. So I don't seem to stop, but I don't know. I feel like saying these things just, for anyone who does, go through these things regularly. It isn't just you. I go through it regularly, very regularly.
We all do, man.
So yeah, just in the spirit of acknowledging that and putting one foot in front of the other. Anyway, I haven't been doing a great deal. Very ambient stuff, huge, great long effects change in Ableton. Really stupid. I've been.
That's not stupid. That's amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Absolutely crushing things with limiters, like putting lots of effects on it and then over compressing it to hell and bringing up the noise floor and ending up with some really weird powdery sort of sounds. And
okay, I was just gonna say that's what Boards of Canada always talks about, compressors to add that like powder on top. There you go.
Yeah, but if it started to pump, then that was a good thing. I want it to do that. Do something interest me. I don't care. Just really messing around. And I may not like the music. Maybe I will when I go back and listen to it. But I think I do like the sound. So I don't think it's wasted time.
I mean, straight away, if you already like the sounds, that tells me that you can sit on that for a month or two, come back to it when you've forgotten all about this personal space of existential dread in which you're in, and it will be fine. And you realize that you were just having a bad day, and maybe you needed a cookie.
Yeah, I have given up sugar 6 weeks ago. Maybe that's
that explains it.
That's the way to go.
You're just having a massive sugar crash, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a cookie that says in my head.
That's fair. I mean, Mike pops up and says straight away, "It's the Dark Nights, bro. Saps the energy, that and that is a gestures at everything."
I couldn't agree more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's okay to have
description there, Mike.
All that and everything else as well.
Absolutely. Well, we are very grateful and happy to have you here today. So thank you for clocking in, despite the existential dread. With me is my co-pilot Sunwarper, who is the main star of the show for today.
He is.
And how are you doing, bro?
I'm all right. That's a lot to put on me, man. That's a lot. But I was gonna say for Eon, like as long as you're in the call, not of the call, it's all good. That's was it Ram Dass? Just be in it, not of it. But yeah, it's all good. I'm with Eon Lake actually. I've been the time change and all that, just those, like when it gets dark really early, oh man, just weird. But yeah, I'm all right. Getting ready for baby to arrive, dealing with the toddler. That's been fun.
You must
in
be
quotes.
just living in this kind of like day-to-day kind of.
Pretty much, yeah. I've been just getting stuff ready, doing a lot with the album promo and all of that. And I found a little time yesterday to do some beat making, which was fun. And yeah, something new just arrived, something from Australia, so that's going to be fun. I don't know when I'll get to look into it, but we'll have it soon, hopefully. Maybe before the holidays, I'll have some time. But yeah, so just trying to get everything ready.
That's what you need. That's where we need to be. I mean, it makes sense. You've just dropped an album, and then you're coming into this world of kind of a what's next kind of situation.
What's that, Ian? Like
just in the nick of time.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah, there we go. If you haven't, if you've just tuned in, or you've missed the messy shenanigans of this morning, we are discussing today's traces in this album. Putting the link in the description there, and I will share my screen as well for anyone who's seen it, because it is out on Bandcamp and everywhere else that you see it right now.
Streaming, or yesterday, it was out on streaming.
Yes, it came out on streaming yesterday, so it is out everywhere. And yeah, you can grab it there. It's even got compact discs in there.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce it to us somewhat before we get into it? Do you want to tell us, for people who may not have been following you on the socials, what this is all about and what this release means to you on the offset?
Yeah, so I didn't talk about it much while, like I talked about it now, but like that, you know, my wife's been pregnant, so we were anticipating the arrival of baby 2, our daughter, and I was just dealing with the toddler, Luca, my son, and all that. And really, it's all about transitions and change, right? Like it really hit me this year as my son started to talk more, run around, you know, be much more like active and run around and play and all that sort of stuff. Like all these things, it's really that Blade Runner thing, right? It's like Tears in the Rain. Like it really made sense at this, where it's like all those versions of my son no longer exists, right? But in the moment they were so real, they're so there. And then it's just like that version where he just laughs because, you know, you're just like making funny faces, like that's not there anymore, you know, or learning how to eat and all that stuff. So that's kind of the genesis of the themes of the album, like impermanence, memories, how memories become kind of faded over time and they all clump together, the good, the bad, it all kind of eases into just nostalgia instead of like, man, that was really rough or that was amazing. It's just like, oh yeah, that was an interesting time or whatever have you. So that was the genesis of the idea. That's the idea of today's traces. And with the artwork that you and I worked on together, it's meant to be that sort of kind of like kids' toys and stuff, you know, because that's like what it is, but also just these very vague fading symbols that represent just all the things that just come together and collate in our memory. But it's all ambient, and I did it all in what little times I could with some very weird workflows in early mornings, late nights, just whenever I could find time in the studio that I wasn't filming or you know, busy with other things.
Awesome. Okay, that's a great introduction, and we've got to unpack a lot because you've just spoke about a lot there. You talked about workflow. You talked about the meaning behind it. I want to start with
sorry, I'm really used to compartmentalizing because of how little time I have. So sorry, I just threw it all in one package there for you.
I asked for an introduction, and that's exactly what the introduction is. So that's fine. You know, I suppose I want to start with the notion of this idea of memory and impermanence, right? Did these ideas come to you and you were like, okay, I'm going to write an album about it? Or was it more of a case you were finding these pockets of time and you were finding these, pockets of time, and then you can, it came naturally? Or was there an intention behind it?
No, there was no intention behind it. I was just getting really sick of always thinking about like a camera, a setup, an audience, you know, everything, because of how little time I have for music stuff, was okay, I'm going to film this because it's videos for YouTube and this and that. And I was like, you know, I really miss the more adventurous, just like making sounds and not worrying, oh, does this fit that kind of narrative I need to tell? Is it beats? Is it going to be engaging for the algorithm and for viewers watching it and stuff? And so I was just finding little moments of time where I could to just create whatever expression needed to be recorded or set, you know, into the DAW, into my hardware, whatever. So it was basically reactionary, where I was not thinking about an album. I was not even thinking about songs. I was just like, I just want to create that more exploratory vibe I did when I was learning music, right? You know, you just sit there and you make a song. You're like, this is so cool. You're not thinking, is this IDM? Is this ambient? Is this neocloud? Like, who cares? You know, just creating and letting whatever it's going to be exist as its own thing.
And did that process, did you quote unquote achieve that with this process?
Yeah. There's not a single drum on this album.
Yeah, that's true. There is not a single drum on this album.
And it's all time signatures are all over the place. I have some songs in 9/8. Some have no time signature. I just improvised the time, just playing. You know, I wasn't worried about like the perfection. I wasn't worried about, is this on the grid? Do I need to quantize? Like, literally, it was just explorations of playing a synth or playing MIDI or whatever, sampling sounds and chopping them up in weird ways and adding a boatload of supermassive, you know, something like that. Just experiments.
And so did that, I suppose what we're getting at, did that provide that emotional catharsis that you were looking for?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's emotional catharsis so much as just a avenue of creative expression that's away from the constant concept of algorithm and views and analytics and all that stuff. I think there's a place for that, but that's what my YouTube channel's for. So I was like, this is just going to be separate, you know, just the art as art, artistic expression.
Art for art's sake.
Yeah.
Sense, which makes it's just fair. Eon Lake, has anything cropped up for you that you're inquisitive about in this sense?
Well, I wanted to start by saying well done for including a mix at the end. I really
yeah, thanks. That I made a visualizer for the pre-release stuff, and so I mixed it all. So I was like, I'm just gonna make this a export, and now I got it.
I love that. And I don't question whether I'll listen to the tracks individually now. Just head straight to the mix, and just there's nothing missing on that, is there? It's all of them, isn't it?
No, it's all of them. The only thing is the CD has one extra track, but it's not on the mix or on the digital. But great. Otherwise, it's all there. It's just some songs are slightly shorter for the mix. Like there's a fade out, fade in. It's like a DJ mix, you know.
So I wanted to know how much of the concept and how much of the content was a deliberate, right, I'm only going to do this. I know a lot of it is opportunistic in the way that you created it, and there's a nice symmetry in the fact that the subject matter of the album and the fact that it was in a way created in the same way as what it's, you know, musing on. But obviously it's beatless. I imagine that was probably a decision up front, but how much of the rest of it was, and how much of it was just, no, this is what the vibe is today, this is what I'm doing, this is what happened?
So it was not a decision up front to do no drums. It just happened to be that way. There were some songs that I did that I had posted on Instagram and stuff that, like little teasers of it, that had drums. They were all like live instruments. It was really just every time I could, I experimented with ideas. Like, what if I just do a guitar and a drum loop in the looper on the SP and see what happens, right? But I went and found the songs that all matched the kind of ideas, and there was certain chord progression ideas and a lot of like borrowing chords from other keys and things. So the songs that all fit together, I put on this album, but there were other ones that work. But there was going to be a song in the middle. I had told you two that it was like 8 or 9 minutes long, and it was like,
I remember mentioning this. Just
right. Well, that had some really heavy 4 on the floor drums, and I was just like, there's no place for it here. It doesn't make sense. It was just it didn't match whatever. And I wanted this to be an album, not something that it's a disparate collection of songs or something. Like I wanted it to be. That's why I did that continuous mix at the end. Like I wanted something that it's a meditation. You sit with it, you just be there. And I was like, I just think the drums take it out. And it's also, the song was like very plucky synth and, you know, like 112 BPM or something. And I was like, you know, it just doesn't fit. Yeah.
Have you still got it? As in,
oh yeah, it's going to be on the next album.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the next album is totally, it's got vocals, it's got drums, all that. Totally different. But it's a follow-up on the themes to a degree. So I don't know when I'll have that one. That's probably in like 2 years, but yeah.
But so in this sense, this could be considered kind of like a halfway house between what you've done and where you're going.
Somewhat. I kind of thought it was I think it's a very symbolic evolution of Future Fade, because it was a similar idea, except instead of releasing a song every month that was about that month or whatever, it was more just like this year, everything runs together, right? It's just so hectic and chaotic. So it was about finding those moments and those pockets to just create and be in that sort of creative meditation and stuff. So yeah, that it just kind of came together in that way. And I think it kind of wraps up, at least for now, where I'm at with music and where I want to go and stuff. The song on the CD is a little bit of a teaser of what's coming, because that's actually meant for the next album. So yeah,
we have to go get the CD then in that case,
I guess.
Yeah. Mike pitches in the idea and the spoiler that the next album is going to be drum and bass. Is that fair?
There might be a drum and bass song in that one. You never know.
I think a lot of us in the community.
A tracker drum and bass song just for Eon Lake.
There we go. That's the one. Absolutely. That's the one. This notion of writing these tracks in, as you say, late at nights and early mornings, these pockets of time. This is something which has hitherto been kind of not featured in your work, because you haven't had to. You've been able to have more designated times to produce. Has this ultimately had an effect on the way that you see making music and how you approach making music? Do you think impermanence, or is it more of a kind of an episodic chapter situation?
That's the thing. Who knows? It just is what it is in the moment.
That's the kind of if you would forgive me saying so, that's the kind of statement that, I don't know, Sunwarper of 5 years ago may not have made. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels
I don't know.
It feels like that this is one of the least preconceived releases that you've done, and
that's very true.
And I don't mean that in a way that it's in any way inauthentic or doesn't have a strong sort of, you know, sense of mood or character about it. It's just it feels a little more direct, a bit more honest, a bit more that you thought less about it and felt more and created something a bit more spontaneous as a result. And it's more through experimentation than going, right, these chords have got to be used, and I like these sounds and so on. That it's just like, what's within arm's reach? Is he asleep? Yeah, okay, let's go.
Exactly. I mean, it was just really, I needed time to create, and I found those times to create, and then I was like, wow, there's really something here. Let me see where it goes. And I was like, well, this is what it was, finding little time. It was reflecting on those moments, thinking about like, wow, you know, that first laugh, that's gone, you know, my like that moment is no longer here. It's just a memory, and just seeing what happens from it. And I was like, yeah, this is really what I want to share, and what this album is all about. It's really just kind of just like Future Fade was chronicling a year. This just chronicles this moment in time and just reflecting on things that no longer exist, I guess.
So having done things a little bit differently this time, and I think it achieved some slightly different results as a result. What do you think about it as it loops back into the input process as far as creating music is concerned? Has it changed your attitude to making things in a certain way? Has it made you think, well, there's more than one way to do this, and, you know, creating a body of work doesn't have to be the same every time? And, you know, what are your musings having completed this and maybe moving into your next project?
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing, I just kind of separated. I was a while there, I was trying to bridge the gap between my like YouTube and that type of stuff with my artist side, like the Bandcamp and all that stuff. And I realized I don't want to be hindered by those things, and I don't want to be thinking about like that when I need to think about, you know, the SEO and analytics and performance and stuff. It's like I do enough of that growing this YouTube channel and all of that. And I was like, I really want a place where the music is the music. And that's what I decided. Like, that's the artist side is going to be that. And whatever comes of it, I don't care. It's the expression that I need, because like everything else comes through the other channels and stuff. But it's like, I want that artistic expression that's not bound to any sort of concept or thought. So like I said, the next album is going to be beats, not necessarily like beats like boom bap and stuff, but like drums, lots of synths and guitars and vocals and all that stuff. And it's like, well, you know, there is a thematic connection. There's a very clear through line I have, but in terms of like sound connection, there may not be a ton, but that's okay. You know, I'm just letting it be what it is. So that, and then also in terms of the writing process, this was such a unique way to write, like in a way I wouldn't have thought of, you know, letting go of the perfectionism, mixing quickly because that's all I got, or not even thinking necessarily about mixing, and just finding those sounds that I really want, and maybe just, okay, let me just notch really quick, you know, just like really fast things to just see what you can create when it's pure expression, and not then going into the logical side of it and analyzing things and stuff, just staying in that artistic aspect or angle, being like, okay, you know, I've got this sound, maybe it's muddy, but this is what it is. And it turns out it actually works really well typically. But, you know, it was like just trying to shut off that logical side, that perfectionism, and just letting the expression be what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it has all the hallmarks of a whole new level of minimalism for you.
There's not many tracks. A lot of them were made in the DAW, and there's not much going on. A lot of it sometimes too, even if I didn't have a keyboard and I just had my computer, I'd make a session player in Logic, and then just there's a way, if you set a chord progression, you can then change every chord to anything. So I just like borrow chords from other keys, do big like sevenths or 11ths, or, you know, like all that type of stuff, and just like borrow these other things. And so it may have started as like a simple, you know, like I set a 1 4 5 6 or 1 5 6 4 or whatever, like chord progression, and then it completely changed into something totally different. But that was a way to just quickly, I think it was Today's Traces, the chord progression that's like all modal. Like it's very, if you listen to the title song, like it's not set to whatever key it was originally. It's borrowing chords from all over the place, and actually it's bouncing between a major and minor. The lead in the first bar is major and the second bar is minor, and I wanted that because the title is meant to be like reflecting, and the good and the bad all kind of blends together in memory. So I did that little play on borrowing between the major and minor. I think it was, I can't remember if it was A minor and major or whatever it was, but it's doing that where it's borrowing and then the chords drift all over. So yeah, just experimenting with that.
That's your first jazz album.
Yeah, it's your favorite. It's a jazz album. You know, I love jazz chords and borrowing chords and stuff.
Oh, I know you like
any
a
music.
Stacked chord as well that, you know, spans a couple of octaves and it's got to have
yeah,
a little bit of augmentation in it.
Yeah.
That's 9 to add 11th, something like that.
Yeah, I would have loved to do the Eon Lake and do multiple synths all playing one chord each. And I guess I could have taken that MIDI and then separated it. But that was the thing. I didn't want to get lost in that more logical thought process. It was really just after those moments.
Flow, wouldn't it? Yeah. The flow was very much in the opposite direction, wasn't it? Don't stack, just explore linear.
Yeah. And if I needed more like droniness, I'd just throw effects on until, you know, it would get there. Or like it was, a lot of it is Dr. Vibe and Supermassive just all over the place to add the grit and the low sample rates and then the drones.
There is a lovely fuzziness to it. Well, sometimes it's fuzzy, sometimes it's furry.
Oh, I did a lot of noise. I added a lot of sample noises that I would time stretch. So there would be these artifacts of the time stretching, and then I'd add reverb so they would become longer.
I was thinking
that was the thing. That was a running theme.
Like, it was like a color chart for different sort of sound artifacts. You know what I mean? Like we've got fuzzy, slightly grainy. We've got powdery. We've got dusty.
Yeah, it was weird. There's I did some where I just like record some noise sounds, or I'd generate noise sounds with like white noise and pink noise and stuff, and then time stretch it with Logic's just like not that great time stretch algorithm. And so you'd get all these weird artifacts, and then you bury that in massive amounts of reverb. So those artifacts get stretched out over time. And so it just causes these like almost ocean wave sounds and things like that. But it would do these, and then I'd change pitch maybe and things like that. And I know pattern recognition has that. Signal generation, that's the whole point of signal generation. It started with that sound. And then Dream Loop Transit also has that. That one's in 7/4. There's a few in weird time signatures. And then a couple others have the noise. I think the last one, Residual Self, that's the whole point of it too. It was messing with those noises first.
So did each track have a different kind of quote unquote starting point for experimentation in that regard?
Yeah, some would be just like messing with noise. Some would be doing the session player and finding just a really interesting chord progression. And then I'd add some of them. I was playing the leads, like Today's Traces. The lead is done on the keyboard of my laptop, like the actual keys. I just did the in Logic, I think it's Command K, and it opens that little keyboard. The one octave, I just did the lead like that. And I hate that, but I was like, well, it's the only way I could do it, and it worked, and you know, it was fine. So yeah, every track was born out of a different experiment. It was a less planned Eon Lake whiteboard. It wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, today make noises, do super massive on it, time stretch it. I would just be like, well, I want to start with some noise. What happens if I just time stretch it and see what happens? Okay, what if I just add some reverb? Okay, what if I add this and that, and phasers, ring shifters, ring modulation, all that, and then go from there.
Do you in that? Okay, so we have the starting point of different experimentations, and the whole, as you're saying, it's a whole album. It's not a collection of singles. There's a lot of cohesiveness throughout the entire album. So with different starting points and ending up with a cohesion, is that your consistent use of, say, Dr. Vibe and Valhalla, etc., etc.?
Yeah, I suppose I wanted everything to kind of. I was just in this mood of making things sound like old and warped. Sunwarper, I guess, but like I wanted those low sample rates because, like I said, a lot of it was in the DAW, and when I'm in the DAW, I can't stand that very clean, pristine sound, and so I want to drop the sample rates. I want to add some grit. Dr. Vibe is just very convenient because it's got the vinyl emulation. It's got the ADC to DAC emulation. So you can get all the sample rates. You can get the needle distortion, the warping, and then you can get the 303 compressor to just kind of add that powder, as Eon Lake was saying earlier, to those previous things in Dr. Vibe, the distortion, the sample rate stuff, all of that. So it just, I wanted everything to have that sense of like, when you look back at memories, it all blends together. And I just thought that kind of was a coherent theme in it, that it could have this sort of missing bit depth, whatever, like missing what we would expect to hear in pristine audio. It's like missing that. There's those artifacts that are gone, or those sounds that are gone.
Listening to it as a mix really enhances that effect, that it's kind of like different memories and floating between shards of time that you've perhaps not recalled accurately.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. That's like the whole thing. Yeah, and that's kind of why
songs, but in a meta way, you know, when you listen to the whole lot as well.
Yeah, and that's to your point, Curtis. That was kind of the through line, is like, well, I want it to have that theme. So some of those effects, I don't know. I find that Supermassive just gives that very, like, I always just think of like snowy, but just there's something there about the echoes it creates. And then Dr. Vibe, you could even do this with Arturia Mellowfi and maybe like a Bit Crusher or something. You just need to drop the sample rate, so you need something to do that too. I guess the Bit Crusher can kind of do it, but yeah. So that was the kind of like final piece to get it all to blend together. It's like, oh, this gives that kind of glue to the whole thing.
Are there any of these workflows or jumping off points that either surprised you or brought you a particular sense of creative flow?
You know, the weird one, the session player thing is just an interesting one. I wish I had my laptop because I could show. Maybe I can get something for the Discord. But it's just interesting. Instead of playing the chords and trying to figure out what you like, I hear a chord progression in my head, right? But it's not quite there. But like, I didn't have a keyboard, so I would have the session player and I would just change the chords and be like, oh yeah, maybe if I did a C major instead of what should be C minor and add like a sixth or something, and do that. And it's like, there it is. That's what I was hearing, that modal interplay or borrowed chord interplay. And yeah, so that was something I really found just unique. And even like for going back to the YouTube and stuff, you can use that to create samples that you can then chop up and stuff. Like I did a video where I used samples from the song Today's Traces, like a stem from the chord progression, and chopped it up and made this totally different sound because I was changing the pitch of each chop of each pad, like each chord. So it was no longer even anywhere near what the original song was. But so it's like a workflow I can even use in other things. And then just using the computer keyboard for leads and even for chords sometimes. It's an interesting way of doing it. Not one I would want to use, but it's funny just what you have to do out of necessity. And like, oh, it actually worked, And you can always go in and change the MIDI. It was like, okay, I got the idea. Now I can move it around and see what works or add variation for other bars and things like that.
It's as we always say, isn't it? Like the creation is born from a limitation in that regard.
Yeah.
And sometimes the best limitation are the things that you actively don't want to do when it comes to
exactly, because it makes you think in ways you wouldn't normally, right? Like I'm used to a big keyboard when I'm playing, and I can do, like Eon was saying earlier, big chords on my left, do fifths in the root, and then on the right I can do these extensions and add color and all that stuff. It's like you have a 1 octave keyboard on the keyboard, and it's I always hit record on accident because it's R, and like other things like that. And so you just have to see what you can make with it. And it's good to challenge yourself in those ways and do stuff that you wouldn't normally do. Real quick, I just want to say, because talking about those plugins, FCC says you should check out Vector Melt and Echo Melt from Psychic Modulation. They do a similar thing and are great for lo-fi sounds. Been using those a lot lately. Nice, cool. Yeah, when I have time, I will check those out.
I will too.
Yeah, Psychic Modulation, and it's Black Friday coming up soon, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah, that is coming through. Where are my notes? One thing that has been rather unique and rather interesting from this has been your kind of way that you've announced this and the way that you've released this in that regard.
Or didn't announce it.
Or yes, to the point. You have kept very quiet up to it, and you haven't really mentioned it other than to a couple of people. Then when you did release it, you created a set of memory fragments on your website using mirrored and kaleidoscope images. What was your intention behind that?
Yeah, well, I love the ARG or whatever that Boards of Canada did for Tomorrow's Harvest. And I was just like, I wonder if there's an interesting way to just like do this and see if anybody would even click through it and stuff. And surprisingly, a good number of people did. So I did this whole thing where it started with I'm just sick of promo, right? And like emailing and posting content. So I thought, well, maybe there's a way I can make the content work for me rather than trying to work for the algorithm, right? Like the whole thing about this album is just basically against the algorithms and things that we're forced to be in these days. So I just wanted to create these like cryptic things that were puzzles you could solve. I did a couple different methods, but so like I posted it first to my Bandcamp followers with like a very cryptic. First I did a normal email because I hadn't done any emails in a long time on Bandcamp. So I was like, hey, something's coming out soon. Can't say much now, but expect to see some stuff. And then I did a very cryptic one that was like memory fragment found, reconstruct at, and it went to like a page on my website that had this puzzle. It was a video, and I did a couple different like ways you could get to the next web page, which would be the next clue. And then that was like the reveal basically. So it was just like two things. But the other thing I did, that one video, the SP video I did where I chopped up the Today's Traces sample, I made my YouTube work for the album because I when I was like, let's go check out the chop menu, and I go to the chop menu, I changed the menu on the SP to say memory fragment found, reconstruct at, and I put the website. And so that video got tons of views. And so even if not a ton of people moved over, it was like, well, it was kind of merging the two things in a way that was still promoting the album. And so yeah, I was just trying to think of ways to do it without just being like, hey, my new album's out, go check it out, you know, here, or just doing videos. And then like I did that live set. So there was my promo content. I just took splices of the live set and was like, here's this song, or, you know, this song is this. So yeah, I just wanted to think about it in a different way instead of just being like, there's a new single out. And I was very thinking, how can I not actively promote Spotify and streaming? Like I've really debated even not putting it on Spotify and streaming in general, and I still may take it off at some point. But in the end, like we were talking, Curtis, it's like, well, I don't want to punish those that listen on there, you know, like by not having it on there. So I still put it on there, but I'm not linking to it, not talking about it being other than just right now that it's on streaming. But it's like, yeah, everything's Bandcamp. So yeah.
Does the shift in tone when it comes to promotion, because it's a really cool way to promote your work by effectively not promoting it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I was just trying to think, like, is there a way to promote it without just being like, here it is, you know, just something different. I was just bored with that idea and was like, well, this is all about artistic expression. I don't really like, I'd love for people to listen to it and stuff, but it really was just for me to express who I am, where I'm at, what my musicalness is, whatever, like at this moment. So I just want to see, what can I do? What's an interesting way of doing this that, you know, maybe it's a test to do something more complex in the future with some, you know, another release or something.
Yes. And I'm wondering, as you were saying that, I was wondering whether the creation of the videos and having a unique creative outlet for a form of content, if it scratched that itch of not wanting to promote the way of, hey, I've got a new album out, but also that notion of doing something that does effectively go against the algorithm, because it's
I just wanted to share so this was the first page. So there were multiple ways to get to the page. And then I made it super easy. Like you could just click on this to go to the next page, but I also put what the page would be there. And then in the video, there's I have like a robot voice that says the name backwards, like traces backwards. So there were a lot of ways to get to that. And then if you got to the actual page, there's the like actual announcement. So
it's cool.
Yeah. But it was the other ways to get to that first page using the YouTube and all that stuff that I wanted to just go and find new ways instead of just being like, hey, go to my page. It was like, well, can I do something kind of cryptic? Like maybe I can find that SP video too. We can share that one. Sorry, Curtis, to go on a tangent, but I just want to show, because, you know, we talk promo and stuff and it's like, I don't know, man, it's getting real old. And like the whole idea is that I do enough promo and all that stuff for my YouTube and for all that. I was like, can I just not and see what happens? So that's why I wanted to test this. Do you mind if I just throw this YouTube video up too, Curtis?
Okay. I mean, you're in that process of letting go. I suppose the content creation in that regard is another vestige of letting go.
Yeah. So let me show you in this video. I posted it on Instagram too, but I figured it would do. Hold on one second. Best on YouTube. Oh, is it not letting me share this? No, it's not letting me share it. Okay, well, we can show it later. But if you go to my YouTube, you'll see the title was "There's Always Something More to the SP404." So I figured it's good. Like that is a good keyword. It is going to hit the search and stuff like that. But so then I have this
splash screen on it on the 404 to that.
Yeah. So when you open the menu, right? Like I zoom in on the screen. When you open the menu, it pops up with like a little gray bar. I don't know, Curtis, if you're able, maybe I can share it with you. If you can share this one, I'll put it in the private chat. But so the menu pops up and then I do like a little light effect and then it pops up with something like memory fragment found, go to sunwarper.com/fragments. And so it's just really quick. So the video is still mainly showing this like SP404 chopping workflow, but there's that little piece of like fragment even, you know, that promotes the album. Yeah, there it is. So if you hit
My favorite
play
thing
on
about
it,
samplers is how you can take any idea, even just a fragment of a track, and use
today's
slice
tracing.
points to create something completely new out of it. Let me show you what I mean. If we go
Watch right
over
here.
to chop, we can create with
Right there.
AutoMark or by hand
That's the
multiple slice points in
then it goes
our
back.
original sample.
That's it.
So I'm going to just do AutoMark.
It's like a
which
little
will
Easter
set
egg.
4 even
Yep.
slice points. And you can hear now we're not bound to the original time or even length.
So did this process give you a bit more of a particular sense of control over your own creative outlet when it comes to promoting your work?
Man, I don't know. I think it just, I guess, yeah, it just felt like it was just fun. Like instead of thinking, oh, I got to do this promo, let me make this stuff and that stuff, it was just fun. Like that happened to be a video I wanted to do talking about sample chopping. And then it just kind of clicked that I was like, wait a second, this is perfect to just subtly show, you know, the start of this rabbit hole or the puzzle pieces. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's cool, that works. And then I just had all those other ideas, making that little minute-long video that teases where to go next. I put a couple different ways to figure it out and all that. So yeah, it was cool.
Excellent. I mean, it's a wonderful place to have or feel like you've got creative control. I think especially after the last couple of years, you know, many independent musicians have been feeling out of control when it comes to their work. Either they have to keep feeding the algorithm in through content or by releases or something. And there is a growing wave of people kind of taking that step back and just saying, no, I want to do it my way.
Yeah.
And I know that you yourself have, you know, struggled with things like perfectionism and putting things out there and being logical and clean and consistent. So it's good to see this kind of come through in all its beauty.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I mean, I was just so sick of like waterfall releases and Spotify playlists. Like, I just don't care about that. And I was like, I just want it to be the music. So it was really just figuring out a way, one, that I found fun to make content around, and then two, I think it all ties into the album too, about memory fragments, and like with the liner notes in the album, it's all, every song has descriptions and they're all like they're listed as memory fragment 2, you know, signal generation, and it talks about like what the album means and stuff. So I just wanted to find a way to, like I said, make the algorithm work for my music rather than thinking about the algorithm. Yeah, and I don't think it worked completely in the way of like, it's not going to go viral or anything, and I didn't want that, but I just wanted to enjoy the process rather than think about, oh yeah, how do I do a waterfall release? I need to announce a month early so I can get on the Spotify editorial submission and try to submit to Submit Hub and do this and that, and then like email blogs and radios, and nothing's wrong with any of those things. I'm just like,
awesome.
That's not the point anymore. Like I worry about that enough on this other avenue. Let me just have this creative expression. So if you're not trying to do like your music releases as a full-time thing, then I think it's time to explore and see what you can do and make it fun, rather than worrying about like, oh, is this going to get views? Is this going to get likes? Is this going to get this? Did people watch more than 5 seconds so the algorithm recommends it more, and you know, stuff like that.
Absolutely. It's I think the tide is turning in that regard, and it's kind of that early adoption of that authenticity and that authentic content creation that way has to be, because it's, you know, it's exhausting in the existence in which it is right now.
Definitely.
Ooh. Any thoughts on that, Ian Lake, in that last kind of chapter we've been talking about?
I'm thinking band content, no more content, just art.
Just art.
There's a difference, right? And you know, I respect anyone who's trying to push in that direction. I also think that we should be looking for new tools and new ways of doing things. new ways of expressing yourself. Just the sheer repetition involved in some of the previous things that we used to do. It's no way to live. It's really sucks the joy out of it. And I think,
especially. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, just not to be huffy, but to just put some of those things down, saying, do you know what? It's okay. I can not care about that, and I can just do this, and that's fine. And I can do this better and in a more authentic way because I'm not playing that game, and I'm not looking up to the laws of releasing every time I'm about to release. And
I'm happy to hear other arguments. I would just say to what you're saying, you're spot on. Like that's where I'm at right now. It's like, if you're not trying to do this as a living, first of all, this is really hard to do as a living unless you're trying to do sync licensing and all that and more pop music and stuff. But if you're just doing this for creative expression, then I don't see the point in necessarily trying to follow all those ideas. And like you said, it's like letting this great weight go. Like, I don't need to do these things. It's very freeing in that aspect.
Yeah, I was going to say, free yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We always think typically alike, except for our thoughts on chords. That's where we
some of your descriptions of your processes, because I was doing the same thing the other night, putting mello-fi on things and then compressing the hell out of it to bring all the artifacts out even more.
Yes,
powdery sounds.
Exactly. Exactly. You got to try it. If you don't have it, try Dr. Vibe though, because the 303 compressor, you have the dry wet, so you can even make it like parallel. But I mean, it can just, that 303 sim is just a beast for compression. And you mix it with the sample rates and the needle distortion and the warble and stuff. It's very nice.
Excuse me. I was going to open my mouth to ask my final question, and then I've just coughed everywhere. Hang on.
Nailed it.
We're live.
I was just so taken aback by what you were saying. I suppose it's kind of this why you've been speaking in the last couple of minutes about the releases and the content creation, and then thinking about your workflow and experimentation. It's kind of brought this up, which I kind of want to explore just before we go and listen to a couple of tracks. Has this for you? Because I've known you for a while, and you have always been a man of logic, of balancing your hi-hats, doing 14 mixes, etc.
That's why I didn't do drums,
right? And now you're coming into a space of letting go and being part of the experimentation, the moment, being against the algorithm, yada yada, all that stuff. Has this release created or opened a Pandora's box when it comes to future releases and where you're going?
I don't know. We have to see, because I will say I am more inclined to get crazy in the logic and perfectionism when drums are involved for some reason. But on the other hand, I can't do that with my weekly videos, and those are all beat based. They are what they are. So I think it is, but again, this really is just about chronicling and recording the moment and not thinking about the future or the past. That's why it's today's traces. We had future fade, and then I wanted this today's traces where it's like the now. But sense. Reflecting on things in the past and things like that. But it's realizing that there's only this moment. So all those past things that we think about are gone.
Powder.
They're just memories.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to echo what you're saying, frequency control centers is the worst thing about making music is the pressure of promoting. I mean, leaning more into just being creative when I can find the time. And I think that's sums up perfectly kind of this release in that regard.
Yeah, and I don't think promoting is wrong per se. I just think try to think about it in ways that work for you rather than things you don't like. Like if you don't like talking on the camera or in front of the camera, just because that might be the most successful way for someone, one, it's not your way. So what works for you? And if none, then none is the way to do it, and just release because I still think even if you don't want anybody to hear it or if you don't care, it's like the act of officially releasing something even to yourself, but just getting it out from your computer and onto like Bandcamp, something like that. There's this sense of finality to it, that there's a difference between, it's done, it's now on a hard drive, to, it's done and it's out. Like just personally, it feels different. And I think calling things done leads to the most creative growth, because you can always iterate on a single song and just keep making changes and changes, and you just keep going, and you lose that. It's the diminishing returns. Whereas you could take all the new things you learned from each release and from what you watch on YouTube, things like that, and put that to the next song and then the next song. And it's like you get those 10,000 hours of writing a song and the composing aspect, rather than just mixing endlessly and feeling these diminishing returns and getting really frustrated because not much is changing on a, fine-tuned basis of, drop the volume one, raise it one, do this and that.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic way of putting it. All right, to wrap up this interview spotlight, I want to play a couple of the tracks, and then just before we do, is there anything in particular that you hope that any listener takes away from it, or is this a situation of your work is done and the listener's journey is the listener's journey?
I don't know, man. I was just making an album to tell what's going on, and I hope people like it and listen to it. But it's just there to capture the moment, and I wanted to share it because I think these are important things, and I really wanted to talk for like Audionautic and for all of us and stuff, because I know a lot of us wrestle with these thoughts of promoting and stuff, and that's why I wanted to just try it. Like I did that live set on Bandcamp. Just try these different things, that really cryptic release thing, and just see what happens. Is there a place for a very small artist to do things like this? And does it get movement? Does it get things? That's not the goal again, but I just found it really fun to think of these things, and it all just tied into this narrative of memory and fragments and stuff like that. But I do want to say, Mike said 100% agree. Sorry, Ian, I like that we've changed the thing. There's no longer a block there, but you Mike everyone is gazing at Mike, judging him with those eyes, but 100% agree on this. Get it out there. Yeah, I can't stress that enough. Just if you're making music, you don't have to promote it, but just put it up, call it done. There's this finality to it that I think is really important. And just try to do things your way. And I think being authentic is becoming the biggest thing right now. Like, sorry for the random tangent, but I posted a couple just reels of just me talking and being like, hey, the album's out. I put some B-roll because I have to, as my YouTube self is like, you need B-roll, like to put some B-roll of like the gear and stuff. But I was just like, thanks for tuning into the live set and stuff. And I got more comments and engagement than posting like a jam video or something. So while I'm not necessarily thinking about that, I'm just making what I can at the moment and stuff. It is interesting to see that. I think it is becoming more about authenticity and stuff, should you care about that. So it's something to think about. And if you want to be super cryptic with just random videos of music, and sometimes the mystery is there too. So if you feel like trying to get your music out there, find promo ways that work for you. Don't just do what you see gurus say on YouTube, or even what we say or something. I think the most important thing is it's art, and express yourself.
That's a great way of putting it. There's a whole ethos of expressing yourself. That's a great way to be. It is a beautiful album. I've put the link in the chat, and it is in the description. If you want to go check it out, and that will be in the notes as well for those who are listening on the streamers. Let's play a snippet. Let's play a snippet, because it's tough to talk about a album for an hour and not hear it. What would you like us to play, Sunwarper?
I'm up for whatever. I really like the first song because Luca is in it at the end.
Yes,
my son. This was the first song that like I realized this was the album, because I put, there was just Luca when he started talking and stuff, was saying these really cute like little nonverbal things, and I was just recording it, and I realized this was an old song actually. I had this, it was when I was trying to do video game composing and stuff. Like I had done this idea for this one small indie developer, and it never worked out, but I just found this on my hard drive and was like, it was a very basic version. The arpeggio was there, and I think the drone was there. And that's when I extended it, started moving it around, and then added that white noise experiment, you know, stretching it out and doing all that stuff. And I was like, it's just missing something at the end, like a crescendo without being a crescendo. And I ended up not keeping the vocals very loud. They're very quiet. There's one word of it that I hear like audibly, but I don't think much else is audible, if even that's audible. I don't know. But yeah, my son was in it, and I was like, this is exactly what I'm trying to capture, these moments that they're no more, you know. Now he talks up a storm, you know, and all that stuff. So it's a way for me to listen to that and remember that moment and be there. So
That's fair. Let's have a listen.
that was Luca, that little echo. I don't know if you heard it, but yeah. Also got really into wavetable synths, and this piano is a wavetable synth that I added a bunch of the grit and stuff to.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's what you need.
this whole album's full of retro synth from Logic, the wavetable, and I just like changed the wavetable stuff around and moved things around. I really got into wavetable synthesis on this one. But then I didn't want that pristine digital sound of it, so that's why I added all those, like the warbliness and the distortion and stuff. And then I also wanted sounds that come in and out. That's why those synths kind of drift in and out. The bass starts and then stops for a while, and then it comes back in full. So I was still thinking about arrangement for ambient, like as I do for beats and stuff like that, where I wanted compelling like things. It's not just droning on. It's things pop up, they go away, they come back. Vertical arrangement, basically, where it's like it happens once, it goes away, comes back. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's
Oh, we got a cough from Eon. Like that's the highest compliment.
It is, yeah. Take it away. It's a beautiful introduction to the album in its own regard, and I think it's the fact that Luca's in there as well is sublime. And it really gears everything up for what it needs to be. And especially in the world of ambient as well, it's got the arrangement, like you say, it's got the droniness, it's got that warbliness, which you know is across many of your albums. So yeah, it's a strong start to a very strong album.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it meant a lot to me, this album. That's why I wanted to do things in a bit of a different way. And I thought it was just so cool to like have Luca's voice in there, like have my son in there. And it's a phase of him that, you know, it was only for a couple weeks, couple months or whatever. And it's like, oh, I can always listen to that and be like, oh yeah, I remember that, you know. And that was that's when the album, this was not the first song like I worked on. If I said that, I didn't mean it that way. It was the first song where the themes became apparent. And I was like, aha. I want to say, I think it was Signal Generation was the first song. And then the last one was Residual Self. Because there's no time signature for Residual Self. It's just an improv. And I needed a lead on top. So I did that just over it. just trying to match the lead.
Obviously,
What's that?
That's one of my favorites. Obviously, my favorite is 9 because it's all the songs. But 6 and 8,
I love it.
6 and 8 are my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah.
It's awesome. Before we move across to the community corner, is there any final words that you want to kind of have expressed or express before we do?
No, I just want to say thanks to everybody who gives it a listen. This album is really important to me, and I didn't want to do a lot of promo for it and stuff. So those that find it and those that listen to it, it's awesome to share it with you. So thank you to everybody supporting it. And if anybody has questions about the production or the songs in general, we'll be here for a little bit longer. But if you also want to throw them up on the Discord or hit me up on Instagram, talking about being anti-algorithm, right? But I think it's still good to have a presence. I just don't think I don't want to have to be concerned with trying to think about like what's going to grow and this and that. Like, who cares?
But
there's our Discord. You can scan that.
I think, we're heading towards the end of 2025, and I think 2026 is the year for a lot of us to own the means of production and take control and do creativity and artistry in our own way. So it's a lovely way to kind of look at that. I've whacked up the QR code for the Discord on the side. I did not cut Eon Lake off. There is a second button that I've now found.
Very considerate of you.
Yeah.
Eon Lake off button, is there?
Yeah.
Well,
like popular demand.
If I do this,
well, we want to make sure he gets his exercise in, so do a pull up there, Eon. Like that'll get you. There we go. Look at him.
There we go.
Oh, look at that. What a beast. What a beast. Hey, chin all the way over the bar, okay?
The link, if the link is in the description as well, if you are listening, and that is everywhere you hear it. So it's there also. It is updated, but we don't have Nitro, so it replaces and changes every 7 days. So again, if you want to join the Discord and you're listening to a previous episode, or you're listening to this episode in a year's time, or in 2 years, having listened to the spotlight that we'll do eventually when Sunwarper does his artist spotlight for his next album.
Could be 3, I don't know, man. At the rate it's going right now.
Well, whatever it is, if that is your case right now, just hit us up on Instagram or whatever that happens to be these days, social media, who knows, and we'll get you the link. Point is, the link is there, and if you want to have any further questions, any queries about this album or how Sunwarper made it, that is the place to do it for now. Exactly. Moving through to the community corner, it's not much on the docket for the community corner this week. Just the fact that there just has been so many releases in the last kind of 2 weeks or so.
I was going to say, there's not a lot in there, but there's a lot implied with the one sentence in there.
Right? So many new releases. For example, just to name a few, and I'm sure there's more, so apologies if I missed you. Survey Channel dropped an album about a week and a half ago. Mike released a new live set on Bandcamp day before, I believe. Caught that while doing the pre-production for the show, so that's sitting for waiting for me to buy on Bandcamp. That sounds amazing.
On my wish list at the moment.
Yeah, right. And Lars just cheekily dropped an album on Tuesday night out of nowhere. It's like there's so much there,
and there's no Bandcamp Friday this month.
No, there's no Bandcamp. It's people doing it when they want to, as opposed to the curated notions of Bandcamp saying.
And if you take certain streaming platforms out of the equation, there's no this release radar to steal your thunder. It's just it's suddenly there. What? You released an album?
Absolutely. Nothing. There is nothing quite like receiving an email from Bandcamp saying Lars Haur has just released a new album, for example. I saw it on Tuesday. I was in some mastering, and it was just a pop that I had to stop everything I was doing just to go and buy it.
It's like the best kind of homework.
It is absolutely. So incidentally, Survey, Lars, and Mike are all going to be on the show in the upcoming weeks as I know, right? As we lead into the winter break and coming out the other end. for that time. We've got a couple more episodes left. We're not here next week, and then Sunwarper, you're on paternity, and Survey, Lars, and Mike, and FCC will all be taking turns at coming on the show and playing host in your stead until you return at the beginning of January.
Yeah, my return.
So we've got a very kind of community based kind of run into Christmas, I think, which is
I love it. That's awesome.
A fantastic.
I will try to tune in and be there in the chat, but no promises. But I will be back in January, so I'll see you all then. But yeah.
So it's going to be a good community progress as we go from there. So that's what we've got on the docket. Where are we at? How are we feeling? I mean,
I do want to say, just real quick, a massive thanks to all of our patrons.
Yes,
so
that's what did this.
Supporting our show week in and week out. This is how we're able to use Restream, where we can do cool things like zoom in. Oh, he stopped. Yeah, there you go. He was looking down. We can zoom in on Eon Lake when he starts looking at all of his gear or whatever. Is it the MS-20 or what do you keep in front of you? The synth?
No coast and launch control.
Oh, I thought you keep like a Korg in front of you. You said last time.
Yeah, I've got the little.
Not the nano key. No, you said last time you had like
an MS-20. It's got an MS-20.
That was at the MS-20. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, right there. See, you're just being a dingus.
Well, yeah. Because
I was like, oh, is that your favorite keyboard? You're like, no, I just like how it sounds. Yeah. But yeah. So massive thanks to our patrons that help support the show week in and week out. And if you want to become a patron and get additional content on the Discord as well as weekly hangouts, then head to patreon.com/audionautic.
Absolutely.
I think Curtis is typing, so I can keep rambling on for a second. But let's see, Eon, like, is there anything you want to add or anything on the album front or something?
I just wanted to
what we talked about or say again?
I wanted to congratulate you on a fine release. What feels like an artistic and personal step forward as well. I mean,
I appreciate it. Yeah,
it's genuinely lovely and a great way to spend your time.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I really like doing that continuous mix. I think I'm going to do that for all future releases because it's a lot of fun figuring out ways, even if they don't match, like tempo, key. How can you mix it? How can you get it to fit? Especially with ambient, where sometimes it's easier because it's just drones that can interlap, but other times it's a little weirder. So
I could talk about that for quite a while. Yeah, it
I know you could. Unfortunately, Curtis is done typing, so we'll throw it back over to Curtis.
I'm gonna spare you.
No, I just wanted to.
That's what the Discord's for.
That's what the Discord's for. I just wanted to offer my congrats as well. It's a beautiful album. And I love the process of you bringing your present moment, emotions, and space into the music. It's with such finality. It's beautiful. It's really
thank you. And yeah, journey. I think the biggest thing I learned is let go. Just let it be what it is. Sometimes it's better.
It's easier said than done by far.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not. I still fall victim to it with like videos I'm editing. I'm like, but I could keep adding this and that and edit. It's like sometimes I try to think now like diminishing return. When you hit that diminishing returns, like, is this really going to add much if I add a little more contrast and then have to go across all the different things and do like, not really. So let it go, And it's the same with this stuff. I could have kept mixing, but listening back after taking, a break from it, it's like I really love how the mix came out, and it's very minimal. Not many. Some of the more lush tracks have like maybe 5 things going on, like 5 tracks, no bus effects, nothing like just keeping it minimal, and somehow it works out. I actually find like I was listening Thrice's new album is really good, and some of the things are really heavy, like, and it's just 2 guitars and a bass. And they were saying how they found out as they recorded more albums and stuff, sometimes using less actually gets heavier because there's less competition and frequencies. Like, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. So
blurring in time as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we are not meeting next week, and unless potentially So until that point, where we're at, Eon Lake, any plans for the week? More existential crisis?
Yeah, a bit more existential crisis. I thought, if you want to be, call yourself an artist, then you have to disappear up your own backside for at least, I don't know, 80% of your time. It's the 80-20 rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get back to the 20 at some point and do something meaningful. I've got, I think I've got at least 4 songs on the stove, as it were, that really need to get finished. And some other ideas that either need to get parked for the future or finished off so that they can be assessed. But if it's not happening, I'm just going to mess around instead. But I will try and
Let go, man. Let go.
Let it be.
I'm not going to be too uptight about it because that's how I got in this mess in the first place.
Yeah, that's
There
fair.
you go.
I mean, acknowledging it and recognizing it is the first step to getting past it, which is fair. And what about you, Sunwarper? We're living day by day at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, I got to pick up that gear, and I'm hoping I can do a member stream where I open it up and try to make something with it, because I'm really looking forward to trying this. But I can't say what it is. Sorry, it's part of the process. This is the YouTuber side where I have to be all thinking about this stuff. But it looks really cool. It's not something like massively produced, but it looks really cool. I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully that, and then just getting ready. Baby 2's on the way, so I'm getting ready for that. So yeah,
excellent. Well, that's good.
What about you?
I'm finishing off an album I'm working with a local band, a local folk band that I've been producing their album, and we're at the mastering stage. So I've got a lot of mastering to do. So that's my job for the next kind of 7 days or so. So that's what we're.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah. It's really cool. Very, very folk, very Czech.
And you're going to chop it up and sample it, right?
Eventually, I think.
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep this as little produced as possible, taking the Chili Peppers approach or the Rick Rubin approach, where it's very kind of
hard pan left, right.
No, not so much that. Just not over compressing, not over processing or producing. Just making it what it is and just making it sound balanced and true. So,
cool.
That's a lot of fun because that's very different to what we normally do. So, that's my next upcoming week. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. So we will be back probably in 2 weeks, most likely. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. For those who have stuck with us all the way, you could be anywhere in the world right now, but you chose to spend your time with us, and that is amazing. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We'll be back. Take care of yourself. See us in the Discord until that point. Until then.
Well, I just want to say, because I'll probably not be here till January. So first of all, thanks for tuning into this one. And thanks to everybody who checked out the album. It means a lot. And I'll see you all in January. So this is your 30-second cut timer for Thomas, who always gets mad when we cut at too early. So that we'll be ending the stream shortly. So this is your warning. So now we just need to kill about 20 seconds. So what we're going to do is Curtis and I will drop and we'll just leave Eon Lake on just for practice. So he can get his warm-ups in. We're trying to stay host. Don't worry, I'll hit end, but we're just going to go and it's all on you. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, even Stevie came to say goodbye to you.
There we go.
We hope that you have a good month. Good luck with everything. I'll push the button, and keep in touch. Don't be a stranger, but also know that you can be a stranger as you kind of work things out. That's okay.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it'll take some time to navigate the world, but we'll get there. It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna press that button. So we will see everyone. You take it easy.